what questions, ideas am I exploring nowadays? The main thrust of the next video is going to be solutions. And I think in talking about solutions, you really need to just address people's relationship with their mind. My biggest problem, I think, through my phase of atheism was the relationship I had with my thoughts, the inner world. Yeah, I've been really just thinking about how to offer solutions that are, again, and you know, all these solutions, it's like they've been here. We have the answers to these questions. And I guess my angle on it is like, well, how do I talk about what everybody else has talked about through the chart? Because yeah, like whether you're talking about, you know, Alan Watts or Eckhart Tolle or any of these guru types, it's all there, you know. It's just, are you listening? Can you hear it? And are you practicing? Practice, you know. Practice, bro. I think we all need some type of spiritual practice, especially those of us who are higher in neuroticism, higher in openness, and disagreeable. And, you know, maybe there's some other aspects in there that I'm not thinking about. I think a lot of this is just a function of growing up, missing a few developmental milestones. When I think about the way kids develop, for me, it does shed a lot of light, I think, on what's happening and like what the problem is, because I'm sure you guys have heard stories of feral children who were never taught language at the appropriate age. If you didn't learn language when you were a child, it's going to be really difficult. Whatever this muscle is, I feel like that was underdeveloped in me. I think some of it was just having a foundational narrative that was true and wise, that I could explore, that was good enough and that was true enough that as I grew older, I could zoom in on it. And as I grew more sophisticated, you know, you can kind of get the more sophisticated version of it. Some of us, I guess, who were struggling, you know, we missed this crucial developmental period of childhood. What's my relationship with the idea of spirit guides? I do see this being, the ethereal being, whatever this being was that visited me in my dream. And I have, like I said before, I have had a couple other run-ins with this being. And for lack of a better term, like I'm totally fine calling that being my spirit guide. Yes, so yeah, I'm a believer in spirit guides. Because that's what this thing was. You judge them by their fruits. My interaction with this being was good. I believe I can say that for sure. I could see all of the fruit everywhere around me. So yeah, the spirit guide changed my life. And apparently my afterlife too. So yeah, I believe in spirit guides. You know, what do I know about them? I don't know, not much. I don't know much about them. I can only tell you about my personal experience with mine. You know, I know that there's an entire sort of new age narrative about what spirit guides are and guardian angels. Like there's a lot of these concepts that are out there. But like I said earlier, I'm trying to preserve my perspective of coming in through the back door. I came to these ideas because I had this weird experience. It's another one of the things that I think inspired me to want to share this story. We need more people to practice Jediism, man. Yes. Yeah, I agree. You know, the message of the Jedi is pretty wholesome. And again, it's like some of these things, I think it's important, not just for us as adults. A lot of these things, it's more about how kids are going to grow up. It was not good for me to grow up thinking that nothing really had any meaning and that the old traditions were somehow now beyond the need for these old traditions. You know, now we're modern and now we don't need that stuff anymore. We're evolved to this point where, you know, we're enlightened. That's a funny thing about the Enlightenment period, is like, it was the Enlightenment that religion and these old stories are going to be supplanted by science and reason. But then there's also this idea of like the religious enlightenment of realizing the truth about liberty and the sort of sacred nature of the individual. I was Catholic but gave up, became agnostic. Like I said, I was raised an atheist, so it's hard to relate to being raised with religion at all. But just from, most of my younger friends went to church, they were pretty much believers, and then, one by one, you can sort of see them fall off. It's like these institutions, they have to live in the present. The church has to be alive. All these structures, they're so old and clearly so corrupt. It's amazing that they're still around. And again, I'm not trying to be like disparaging of people, you know what I mean? But I do believe most people are kind of traditionalists. They don't want to rock the boat. They're not disagreeable enough. They're not comfortable enough to question narratives. It's not anyone's fault. It's like people are just born differently, and I really believe that, I believe that people are born different areas of different strengths and weaknesses when you're talking about the big 5 personality traits. And again, I like the big 5 because I can correlate it so easily with the chart. And the fact that it marries with the chart so beautifully, it's crazy. And I think it marries the way it does because it's a statistical approach. It's sort of revealing that, yes, this prismatic effect of shining a light through a prism will show you these different aspects of what makes a person, And I do believe the big 5 is nailed it.